coal bunker to get coal to rebuild the steam in the train to get back up to the train station. It was the mineral water springs that folks had read in their newspapers was healing water. And that's why so many folks was coming to Eureka Springs. That's why they laid the railroad tracks, so they could come by train instead of stagecoaches and wagons. By the year 1900, 30,000 folks lived here. Today there's 2,000. The water wheel would turn the gears to turn those millstones to grind the corn and the wheat. But even the wood augers some wood. You know, the skills of putting the gears together, those that made them were craftsmen. They actually carved out the wood pieces, and then they would make the wood pegs, and that's how the gears was all put together. They took great pride in their work in the 1800s, and the beautiful things that you're going to be seeing over in the village that was all put together with the wood pegs and the craftsmen that they were. Tools here, the broad axe, the foot adze, was used to hand hew logs to make timber. And with wood pegs, they would put the timbers together and you'd have to do their building. The blacksmith was then the only one to make nails, and he would have been expensive, and he wasn't always in the wilderness. So you actually became a craftsman yourself and made wood pegs to put things together and hand hewed your logs and all. And with wood in the 1800s, they was into lead by turn of the century. Calendars was a big thing in the 1800s. It was a way of advertisement. And many beautiful lithograph calendars was made to advertise. And they used wood to print with in the 1800s. A turn of the century lead. This is what they call a proof press, because they proofread before they printed. Put the ink on the hand-set lead. Then with the heavy roller, of course, it would print on the machine, and then you'd be able to proofread before you actually print it. A set up like this would come over in the machine. Is that working? I see a red light flickering. Okay, I didn't see that in yours. I wouldn't want you to get home and not have nothing. The ink is up on the round disc, and you clamp the leathers in and make sure that's not going to hit you, sweetie. If you want to come over here, you can see better. Okay? Okay. The rollers come down and ink the leathers. Then now as it closes, it's going to print onto the paper. It inks, and then it prints. And one by one, it was all done that way. Each time you take the paper out and put more paper in it, and the rollers would pick up the rollers would pick the ink up and ink the leathers, then it prints. And see how I'm working with it here, girls? With my foot. And over here, there's a hand press. A business card press, one by one business cards. A staple machine to staple the papers together. And then the showcase is full of beautiful advertisements. The Campbell Soup Kids, 50, 60 years ago, in the newspaper, they advertised the Campbell Soup. 6 Cokes for a quarter, and there's carnation milk, pet milk, and different ads.
It has been a while.
This beautiful oil painting. The Conestoga wagon, made around 1750. It took 6 horses to pull it. Now in social studies in 3rd grade, they tell us you hear about the Conestoga wagon. Well, you can say you actually have seen one. The man drove from the left hind horse on the left side because the wagon never had a seat. This wagon was made to haul freight, like our semi-trucks haul freight today. Well, this wagon was made to haul freight, not to ride it. The man, this is the back of the man on the front up there would pull a chain. And it would force this is the brakes, and it would force it to come forward and force a block of wood to go against the wheel, and that would be the brake. And on the wheel here, you have a pin to hold the wheel on instead of a nut because of the wood axles, and that's the way they made this in 1750. The blacksmith made it. So you'd line the hole, and pull the pin, pull the wheel, and grease the wood axles. Necessary to keep those wood axles greased. You know, the blacksmith also made jacks for you, jack the wagon up. If you didn't, you'd take a log, and it would be a big job if you didn't have a jack to jack the wagon up. Of course, if the wheel would break or a spoke, you'd just take your draw knife and make a new one, and then you fix it and get going on your way. You usually didn't have a spare. The history book tells how they put pitch in the cracks because the wagons would float the rivers when they came to the rivers. And of course the horses would swim. And the wagon, that's not an original top, but the rest of the wagon is all original. Made around 1750. Blacksmith made. From here you will go up the stairs and go up to the log cabin where the big apple butter kettle is. Then down where the horse is. Then upstairs is all Civil War. Downstairs is Revolutionary War. Then if you go down to the carpenter shop, if my husband...
Hey, Crystal.
What is this? Grandmama? We're about to go on the back side of the horse, Mama. This must have been a military law. I bet they found the stuff here. That's on the bottom.
Say, folks, we're going to be touring you without strings into a home like the first room we step into. I'm not bragging it, but I'm going to get you a feeling of what tools could do 200 years ago in the next 5 minutes. $250,000. Oh, it's not Victoria. Douglas, Washington, Chippendale, Chef Del Rio, Bogart. These men took on with their hands an unbelievable way to make things. Well, I was just talking, and since I have two more young people, I can talk to them too. I was just talking to this young lady about how we talk in German, Pennsylvania Dutch, and that's a schnitzel. Well, we talk German. I know you eat pretzels and you sweep up schnitzels, so I haven't had time to sweep up my schnitzels yet, but what are you talking about, Clay? Well, I'm just talking about these folks that come to America that didn't have a shirt on their back. Never given a chance in the world for anything. They got to America, though, and there's a chance, Dad, to be more than a dumb ox. And I take trees. Well, that didn't cost nothing to cut the tree down. And I sit here as a Pennsylvania Dutchman at my Schnitzelbank, my shaving bench. Well, this is a Dutchman that's got this crazy idea. He saw that where you can take it, well, using your head, you go to your feet. The logo of Abundant Memories is a Schnitzelbank because of my Pennsylvania Dutch ancestry. And this man just takes a schnitzel knife and he starts working on this and he sees how he can work and whittle this thing down, using his feet for a bite, flipping this thing around. And of course, I'm just telling you now, I don't have a nickel in my pocket, but I can sure make the dasher for the butter churn. Oh, the handle for the hoe. Behind you young people is an old hickory rake, and you big people probably forgotten what single trees, whipple trees, and neck yokes are. And then on it goes to the nails. Yes, of course they made the nails out of wood. Well, sure, honey. We make nails out of wood because we use this mortise and tenon joint. Well, I can't afford blacksmith-made nails. They're too expensive, son. But that doesn't stop me from building a barn. I'm in America. And so he makes this, and then he drills. I think we'll change that. I've done that. He drills this hole here. I'm glad I wasn't underneath that thing. And makes his nails one at a. Oh, how does he drill the hole? Cordless electric drill here, 1790. Through 16 inches of oak. Yeah. This man accomplishes in 20 years what we have 50 because he only lived to be 37. Average man's lifespan in the year 1800. 20 years in the wilderness he puts his family. But I was given a chance in America. Well, the Schnitzelbank was a crazy idea that made everybody use a drawing knife. Your grandparents too and mine. Now, how about a dog's paw? Well, yeah, I just wish I had a hand that could work like a dog's paw. And now I'm talking about another tool that a blacksmith made that's very rare to find, the score. 1780, this is a man's hand like a dog's paw, and he gets this dog's paw into a piece of wood, he starts working it down through there, and, well, honey, I'll tell you what I need to do for you, make you a nice chair, so you can come to the table and eat. The old country chairs, yep. Biscuit bowls. Any woman would need 5 or 6 wooden bowls in her kitchen. Bread bowls, dough bowls. This young boy's going to make Mom a birthday present from a half a tree. Sure, they did things like that to surprise him, what his hands could do with a dog's paw. Hey, I don't know, did they ever make shovels that way? Well, I think so. I've got an antique one, and then I made one to show you something. Isn't that something to have a dog's paw? The Scorp of 1780. Pretty interesting, huh? Well, I just told my daddy if I could somehow get to America. Oh, I'm so glad there was a place in the world that would give me a chance. Because I lived in dark China, dark Iran. No, I lived in dark Europe. Same thing. He takes a chestnut tree. That's all he had. He wouldn't have a nickel in his pocket. He come here destitute and poor. That's our story of a legacy that puts wheat and rice around the world today. Chestnut. I know that's a funny looking tool in 1790.